everyone. I'm Rob Ladd. Thanks for tuning in for this edition of the Cavalier Sports Report. Last week, the men's golf team wrapped up their season at the Region District Challenge and will send their top player to the national tournament in less than 3 weeks. To help us recap the season, joining us now is head coach Lafayette Norwood. Coach Norwood, thanks for being with us this morning.
My pleasure, Rob.
A lot has happened since the last time we spoke. It's been about a month. Let's just kind of recap, and we can start kind of where we left off, which was the Rolling Meadows tournament. And you had one golfer in particular that had a pretty good showing that weekend.
Rob, what happened in that particular tournament was it was the beginning of our spring semester, and we had anticipated big things to happen for us. And of course, at that time, we were in first place in our conference. That's first place out of 9 teams. And there were so many variables that happened from that time to the end of the season, but I think we maintained and held our on. And as you stated, we got out and we played very well some days, and then there were weather conditions, there were courts conditions, there were just so many things there, and you have to just make adjustment. Every team is playing under the same rules, so there's no excuses for either team.
Yeah, and you mentioned that during the Region District Challenge, actually the one you had just last week, that the weather played a huge factor as you were up in Nebraska. Kind of tell us what happened up there last week.
Well, we were playing in Gothenburg, Nebraska, which is just out in the open, no trees and no barriers, and you get that north wind coming in and it began to blow. And in this particular instance, our format is playing 36 holes on a Monday, 18 holes on a Tuesday. And what happened there was the first day, which we normally played 36 holes, the wind was blowing pretty hard. In fact, it blew to the tune of about 53 miles an hour, which is unplayable, unbearable almost, for man or beast. And so anyway, we got out and played, and they canceled the first round, which was on Monday. So we changed the format and went to a 36-hole total on Tuesday, which kind of changed the mindset of many people. So the ones who can make that adjustment for a grueling 36-hole all-day play, that's the one that ends up many times being a little more successful than others. So we did come out of there not unscathed, but we come out, at least one of our players ended up coming to the Nationals tournament, going to represent Johnson County.
And how does that affect a player when they go in with the mentality, I'm going to play 36 on the first day, 18 on the second, and you basically flip-flop that? I mean, is there any way that a player can prepare for those kind of conditions? You just kind of have to go out with it and see really who shows up.
Well, again, you have to prepare, and those who do prepare well, they're the ones many times are successful. So it affects some youngsters a lot differently than others in that they think in terms of only 18 holes play the second day, and they are kind of get a little comfortable with that thought process. And all of a sudden you said 36 holes, oh man, I've got to turn around now and I've got to really grind it out and everything. So those that make that adjustment, they're the ones going to be successful.
Your team was unable to qualify for nationals as an entire team, but you've got some youngsters on the squad that'll be back next season that I know you're really looking forward to seeing improve.
Yes, out of our 5 players, we had 3 of them be returning, and we feel that they'll be able to make the adjustment. Now they see what it takes in order to be successful, and it's going to take some really, really committed and dedicated effort for us to be successful. And I think one of them told me at the end, he says, you know, I know now what it takes. I'm going to get out and really work hard during the summer. So with that in mind, hopefully we'll couple that with these 3 young men returning, and we do have a couple of walk-ons that's going to be back, and then the recruiting class that we'll have coming in. Then we're going to be able to put those pieces together and hopefully represent Johnson County in the way I think we need to be. Because to be honest with you, this is the first time in 14 years that we don't take a team to the Nationals.
No, while the team is not going to Nationals, you are sending your top golfer in Trevor Johansson. We'll head to Alabama for the Nationals. What was the season like so far for Trevor, and what's his outlook for the national tournament? Well,
Trevor has been one of our more consistent golfers in the past year, in that he ended up with an average of 74.8. And saying that, what we're alluding to is the fact that when you have someone that play that consistent, and it is 2 over par, that is every round you're going to only be no more than 2 over par, then you remaining really consistent with your game. And so he maintained that, although he had some rounds that were up 77, 78s, but he had some that was below 70s and 69s. So average-wise, In fact, that's the second lowest score in Johnson County's history. So I'm real pleased with that right now.
Well,
and he's going to be really prepared, I think, to play because he played last year in the National, and he knows what it takes down there. Almost last year an All-American within about 6 strokes.
The national tournament is 3 weeks basically after you guys wrap up the regular season. What will you have Trevor doing to kind of stay loose and stay focused with that extended layoff?
Well, he'll have to, in other words, use some of his own initiative to build himself up and prepare himself to go out and work each day. He'll hit balls. He'll work on his chipping, he'll work on his putting, more or less his short game. And then the next thing we'll do is go out and observe him playing or competing against others. So you have to maintain a competitive edge at all times. Golf is such a mental game. It's a lot of fun, but it's such a mental game. You have to really be prepared to do this and be able to play like you need to be playing in a match each time.
Now the season is over for the entire team, but it's not over for you. You've still got a lot of work to do in your recruiting process, checking out the local high school prospects. Kind of tell us about the recruiting trail for you.
My process is pretty simple in that when we have the opportunity to go out and observe golfers, I will go out and probably look at 3 to 4 to 5 tournaments. One maybe each week, sometimes twice a week. That would encompass invitational tournaments that they're having. They can have anywhere from 5 to 20 teams in those tournaments. And then I'll go out and look at competition in their regional play. And if the time doesn't conflict with our national tournament, I'll go watch some of the state championships. And then we have word of mouth from our past players, word of mouth from our constituents, and word of mouth from just friends that this person can play or he can't. And then I have to make that determination what level this young man can play on.
And what are you looking for when you're looking for a young golfer, a high school kid? What are you looking for on the course? And I know that academics are big to you, so obviously not every kid that you see on the course is probably going to qualify for your academic standards because yours are going to be even a little bit more above what the college requires. What are you looking for in a high school prospect?
Well, first of all, I don't want to be hypocritical here, but the person has to play. I won't just walk on the street and say, hey, listen, you're a nice guy, I like you, you dress nice, come on, let's play golf at Johnson County Community College. But one of the requirements will be obviously the academic side. I require him to be 3.0 and above. And then I'll look for the character of the young man, talking to his counselors, talking to his coach, talking to his principal. And then the next thing I'll look for is obviously his play. He has to have the skills and some potential. And that's what I have to make a determination on. And hopefully I don't make mistakes because I do recruit my problems or I recruit my success.
Fair enough. Coach Norwood, thanks for being with us this morning, and good luck to Trevor for the rest of the season. Good luck on the recruiting trail.
I really appreciate it, and thank you for this opportunity, Rob.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of the Cavalier Sports Report. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.